So, welcome to year-end planning. So this is an interesting concept that we're looking at. If you remember last week, what we spoke about is we did a little exercise where we looked back, and we looked back at the last 12 months, we looked back at the last year, and we were able to make a couple of lists, and hopefully you've been able to do that yourself. We've spent a afternoon on Monday working out this ourselves, and we filled the whole flip chart page with ideas, and we looked at three things. We looked at what has gone well in the last 12 months, and we celebrated some of the stuff that we've done well, and we kind of started off a little slow there, but once we got going, we were able to list a whole bunch of things that we've done. And it's interesting looking at where we were in November last year and where we are now, both as a company and as individuals and a team. Very different places and very changed things. And it's not where we thought we were going to be. And that's important to hold on to that. The second list that we did is we looked at all the stuff that didn't go well and what was all the issues, what went wrong, where did we not achieve, where did we plan to and not even get to, and what did we try and fail at. And of course that list started growing as well. And when we'd exhausted both lists, then we paused a bit and we then looked at the lessons that we've learned. What did we learn from what we did well, and what did we learn from the things that didn't do well? And we were scribbling all over the page, so it looks like a bit of a mess, but it really worked well. We used three different colors. We used green for good, red for bad, and blue then for the lesson. So we were able to write all the different lessons that we've learned as individuals and as a company. And that gave a really good foundation of where we need to go forward. And the next stage, as we're going to speak about today in year-end planning, part 2, is, of course, making lists. Okay. Now, I'm not a big list fan. I'm not a guy that walks around with lists everywhere. Yeah. Some of the important lists that we have in my life is I've got a daily work list that I do every Monday. This is my daily planner for the week, and I keep adding onto it and I'm crossing that off there. And we have a shopping list on our fridge. Okay. And that's pretty much the two lists that run our lives. So whenever we need anything at home, the rule is when you finish something, write on the list. If you need something, write on the list. And the next person going shopping takes the list and is able to get that. I then control my daily activities with my work list, and our staff do a similar list. And the idea is to cross off the things off the list and then report back. Yes, I've done this. This is done. And we're able to then keep track of what you're going to do. Because the biggest lie that you're going to believe is, I will remember this. And don't get caught out by thinking, oh, that's so important, I'll remember it. Or when I get to work, I'll write it down. Write it down when you have that thought. And the more full your day is, and the older you get, and the more hectic your brain becomes, then the more you're going to forget, and you don't even remember that you had things to remember, and then things just fall by the wayside. So if you have an idea, if you have a thought, write it down and then keep it. So my little notebook travels with me in all sorts of places. So let's have a look at what we're doing there. What are the types of lists that I'm wanting you to do? So here, make a list of all the things you do not need to do in 2018. And this is a brilliant list. We all have ideas, we all have plans, we all have concepts of what we want to do for the new year. And, you know, we get through the end of the year and then we haven't got to them. And some of them are just not important anymore. So we had a goal to, you know, do this and then direction. And like I said, where we are as a company is not where we thought we would be 12 months ago. And because the economy's changed, the world's changed, innovation happens, and things are moving. And it's interesting there that we've been able to discard a whole bunch of our plans. And this first list is your guilt-free list. It's a matter of crossing the stuff off or making a separate list of, these are the stuff we thought we had to do, And we now no longer need to do that in the future because circumstances have changed. And it's, don't beat yourself up that, you know, so many people say, oh, you know, I really wanted to get to the gym and I really wanted to run this race and I really wanted to, you know, buy the new vehicle and we needed to expand our our horizons in this and, you know, get this computer and this and this and this. And then all of a sudden something else comes and you get redirected to this. So you must be a little careful on not having these things hang over your head. Don't be too hard on yourself by not achieving this, because sometimes things that were important are no longer important. And it doesn't mean that just because you procrastinated on something, you can cross it off. If it needs to be done, this is not the list that you put it on. So this is a whole bunch of stuff. And this is quite an interesting list to go through, because sometimes you can actually just add things onto this list because they need to be added there, and you can then remove that from your focus. And it's a declutter, it's a refocus list. You then take that list and you celebrate that these are the things that even if you'd had done them, it would have been a waste of time because they no longer needed to be done. So you can discard that list and say, now we can start off with a clear conscience. We didn't get to them, we don't have to do it, and out it goes into the field. Quite an interesting exercise. A lot of people don't get to do this, and they always got this like thing hanging over their heads about, oh, you know, I should have done and should have, maybe, could have, you know, and all that sort of stuff. Clear the list and move on with that. The second list that you need to do is, what do you still need to do in 2018? So this is all the hangers on, the stuff that you haven't finished or didn't get to, that's still important. And you've got to get that into the list for 2018. So you've got to make that list on that. And these are the stuff that you're going to carry over and do. Maybe it's just stuff that you haven't finished. You know, it's not everything gets finished within a 12-month period and it carries up. We got a whole bunch of stuff, work in progress stuff, and then stuff that we didn't get to, carrying that over, and we then allocate that list. So the list for 2018 is a random list at this stage. You've just got a whole bunch of stuff. You're going to start there with a bunch of things that you've added to, and you're going to get going with that. You then add to that list of new stuff that you want to do in 2018. So this is all the new stuff. And what you want to do is, now you want to be a little creative. So you want to get out your vision statement. You want to get out your mission statement. You want to get out a whole bunch of stuff there and say, if we're going ahead in the next 12 months, what does the world look like in 12 months' time? And now no one can predict this, okay? The world's changing. We've seen, you know, issues in Zimbabwe just in the last 24 hours. We've seen, you know, movement in North Korea. We don't know what's going to happen with Trump. We don't know what's going to happen with Brexit. We don't know what's going to happen with the ANC conference next month. We don't know what's going to happen with a whole bunch of stuff. We cannot predict the future, but we can start looking at trends. And they say the best way to make the future is to invent it yourself. Okay, predict the future by making it happen yourself. So if you want to know where you're going to be in 12 months, plan it accordingly. And we're going to get deep into planning next week. At the moment, it's just list creation. So you want to start creating. It's almost your wish list for the next 12 months. Wouldn't it be nice if we could do this? Wouldn't it be great if we could do that? It's almost ideals. It's not specifics. It's high-level stuff that you want to add to this. And you want to just start there. Once you start writing that down there, if you're not feeling a little nervous and a little afraid of what you put on the list, you've not been brave enough. So John Maxwell says you need big, hairy, audacious goals. And that's really what. Now, I want to challenge you to push yourself. If you say that you want to make your first $1 million next year, why not make it 1.2 million? If you say, well, you know, we've cracked that, we want to make the second, well, why not push it to 3? Get it to that list, make your effort to say, we want to start this, you know, get this stuff. Well, you know, write a book, read a book. Can't believe how many people I speak to that still do not read books on a regular basis. Watching TV is not education, it's reading. Set yourself personal goals, set yourself individual sort of stuff there. So if you think back to our strategy plan that we had there, Remember, strategy, we've got 5 focus areas in the business. Break your company into 5 different areas. It doesn't matter what those 5 are. 5 areas. It could be marketing, it could be finance, product development, staff, production, procurement. You can break that into that sort of area there. And then underneath each one, start saying, where should that area be in 5 years' time? 1 year's time. Write that down up on the board. Where are we going to be in that time? Just get these ideals around there. And then also take a time to do a personal list. Where are you? Where's your relationships with your family? Where's your relationships with your friend? Where are you in regards to faith issues? Where are you in regards to personal education? What about personal health and fitness? What about holidays? What about personal, revenue streams? Where's that credit card bill going? Where's your investments there? What about your cars and the state of your house and all those sort of things? You can come up with at least 5 areas of your own life and start making a separate list with that. So as we start planning, you're not only planning for your business, but you're also planning for your personal and your family as well, because they go hand in hand. If you're becoming more successful at work, you need to become more successful at home. Investing at home will help you be investing in your company. You cannot have one being sick and expect the other one well. They go hand in hand, and you'll know full well. If you're stressed at work, you're going to take it out on your family. If your family is stressed out and not functioning, it's going to reflect in your company. So make sure you find that work-life balance. That's so important, and the best way to do that is to have lists and start planning that. It's a fun little exercise to do at home and go look at what did we achieve last year? What did we achieve last year at home? Maybe it's a new garden. Maybe it's it's a holiday that you thought you were going to have and you just haven't got right. Is it still on the list, or should it be a shorter holiday, a cheaper holiday because of finances, or do you want to have another holiday and expand on that? So where are you with that? And start unpacking those sort of ideas. We've already got a year planner on the wall, okay? So we've got one of these big plastic year planners, and we've already planned and predicted workshops, events, and key milestones up until December 2018, just to show you kind of where our brains are and where we're thinking. And does it scare us? Yes, it scares us a lot. And just looking at that, I don't know how I'm going to cope with 2018 at this stage, but we'll get there. This time next year, we'll go like, where did the year go? And how did that happen? So what do you do with all that list? Well, now what you've got to do, you can have a fun thing. Get a year planner, get a whiteboard and put in 12 blocks in there and start allocating those goals, those ideals per month. What do you think you can achieve? Don't just put everything in December 2018, okay? Because there's certain things with a minimum amount of effort, and there's certain stuff that this is dependent on this and this needs to be done there, and just start brainstorming. We use Post-it notes. So Post-it notes are great. They come in all different colors and you can play around with them, and we love to move them around. I can just show you a little planning sheet, something. Look at this thing. This is a business plan that we've done for one of our clients, and you can see lots of different Post-it notes, and they're fun because you can move them around and you can write something on them and say, oh no, what about this? What about this? And you can do that and use various colors, one for finance, one color for each of the 5 different areas, and you'll begin to see the year coming to focus, and you'll begin to see a plan emerge. As you allocate, you are in charge of the plan. Do not let the plan be in charge of you. Allocate those things and start doing that around. Once you've done the one at work, do the one at home and do the same sort of stuff. Sit down as a family or sit down with your spouse or partner and start mapping out where we're going to do that. If you're going to take a July holiday, when do you need to book it? Well, you precede that one. What about savings? Well, we need to save this and this. Are you going to pay the holiday up front or afterwards, or hopefully raise the money to pay when you're there? How's that going to happen? Where all that's going to go? What are the dependencies? And you'll begin to see a golden thread and themes coming out of the year. This is an amazing exercise because it turns that fear into confidence, because all of a sudden, instead of seeing everything once on a big sheet of paper, You're leveling it out over 12 months, and you can see then when you're going to get the troughs and the peaks, and when you're going to have extra effort. And next week, when we start looking at this, we start looking at resourcing and proper planning and allocating of that, converting this ideal high-level plan into a proper executional plan that you can then take back to your company and implement in that. It's a very fluid thing at this stage, so you're nothing cast in concrete. So write with whiteboard markers or on post-its and move them around and make sure that it works. Go sit back and get a reality check and look at the list as a big list. Does it make sense? Is this something that we can do? If you give the thumbs up, then it's something that you can do that. Still not. Do not get yourself legally tied into this plan. At this stage, it's still an ideal for the new year. But what you're doing is more psychological planning than anything else. You're releasing your brain of all the issues from last year. You're starting to logically look ahead. And when we go on leave, you can relax. And that's the key thing. We want you to go on leave and relax. And we'll speak about that in the last talk of the series, where we say how to have a good leave and how that's going to work. Next week, we're going to take these lists and we're going to convert them into actionable plans and give you confidence in your capability to achieving these plans. And then we're going to give you the big thumbs up to go on leave and relax, or stay at work and start executing your plan. Depends on where you're at. I know a lot of companies now, they're gearing up for 24-hour production, and this is they make a lot of money season. If you're one of those, we're going to speak to that as well in the new year. But whatever company you are, whatever you place, you're a new startup or you're a mature company, or you're ready to go or hoping things are going to get better, this exercise has to be one of the key things that you do on an annual basis. Take time this week to do this. Catch up, watch this video again if you need to. Make sure that you allocate your lists. And then next week, Wednesday, we'll chat about planning and make it all come together in an executable plan. So that's where we are. So let me just have a look at some of your comments and see if there are any questions. If you've got any questions now or later, then please let me know. My name is Bruce Wade, and there's my contact details. And you can email me, chat to me if you're in the Cape Town area, drop by. We're offering a number of things. We've got a financial, year planning company kind of think tank happening on Thursday, tomorrow. If you want to come and be part of that, we'll take all the companies through this exercise of year planning and strategy thinking and enable you to get those proper things. If you're struggling with this, please let me know and we can find a slot for you. I think there's a few places still open and we can get you in on that. Otherwise, you're quite happy to come and sit and chat with me and we'll walk you through this entire exercise with you, or we can even come into your company and come and brainstorm with your team with you. So that's all I have for you. Thank you very much for joining me. A little shorter this week, but a huge amount of work on your part rather than my part. So get going, make a commitment, get these lists done, and then we'll chat to you next week. Thank you very much for joining us.